A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, during the time of the Clone Wars climax, a young Jedi by the name of Shira Brox and his master, along with their clone legion, managed to wipe out the remaining droid forces on Magneto before leaving to Coruscant. As the years pass, Shira and his master were stationed to Ryloth, but along the way, the young Padawan finds a little girl in the street corner on the last planet they ever went to, before it happened. But before that, the two began to form a bond with each other, which of course was forbidden to most of the Jedi Order. But Shura, it didn't bother him one bit, as the shy girl began to connect with the young Jedi, and from that day on their bond became something that would be unbreakable and eternal. A love that won't be broken by anyone or anything, not the fall of the Republic, not Order 66 or the rise of the Galactic Empire. Even when the two were on the run when their clone unit turned on them, they promised never to leave each other's side. But little did they know that their adventures were only about to begin. As the years went by and Darth Sidious's rise to power became too strong for any Jedi or citizen of the galaxy to resist or rebel, the two young lovers hid from the Empire, struggling to survive. The young girl's name was later revealed to be Megara Luna, and she, along with Shura, continued their Jedi training in hopes of defeating Darth Vader and his unstoppable army, until their travels took our heroes to the sinister homeworld of Dathomir. There the Crimson Dawn resides. He takes the two Jedi and makes a deal with Shura, in which if he promises to help him with a heist, he will not slay Megara in cold blood for trespassing on his turf. As Shura's task was almost complete, he was ambushed by the rising Empire, until he was saved by a familiar face and a former Jedi, Ahsoka Tano. She tells Shura that although the Jedi Purge was still in his mind, he must trust in the Force and his heart. The two depart, and Shura heads to confront the Crimson Dawn, who, unbeknown to Shura, had later revealed himself to be the ancient Sith Lord Darth Maul. But after saving Megara, and gaining a few new crew members along the way, as well as a new ship, the two lovers escape Darth Maul's syndicate and travel to the galaxy to find their destiny. The years continue to go by, and Shura and Megara have grown into adults, fully trained in the Force. But along the way, on the planet Bakura, the two encountered another Jedi Knight, Cal Kestis, who was on a mission to destroy an Imperial factory on the planet's surface. On their way, and through countless of waves of stormtroopers and Imperial forces, they were able to catch up with each other after the Jedi Purge and told stories to each other. Alerted by this unexpected attack, Admiral Marcy Starrick sent her forces to capture the two Jedi in order to find any survivors among them. After the facility had fallen and crumbled to the Empire's knees, Cal and the two Jedi went their separate ways with hope in their hearts. But then everything changed when Starrick's men attacked. In order to assure her victory, Starrick took the two Jedi to the unfinished Death Star for further questioning. After a quick talk with famous faces like Director Orson Krennic and Grand Admiral Thrawn, the two were sent to a holding cell, fearing that all hope was lost, until the two were in fact rescued by Shura's old master, Viola Bayfra, and her clone unit, to which they all had their control chips removed thanks to the intel given to them by Captain Rex. Viola took Megara back to her ship, while Shura came face to face once again with Darth Maul. Maul reveals that he was the one who led the Empire to them as his revenge for making him angry on his turf. And out of anger, Shura attacks Maul and damages his legs, before almost killing him in the process. But then he stops and senses that Megara and his master were in trouble and leaves him for dead. After bypassing many Imperial forces, the Jedi escape, but all at the cost of the clone unit and Viola herself. As his master dies on their ship, the two exchange an emotional hug before going into hyperspace. Back in the Death Star's hangar, Viola's daughter, a Special Forces unit by the name of Chloe Bayfra, mourned her death silently, then went back to her duties without being seen. Orson Krennic ordered a bounty on both the Jedi after an act of tyranny that was caused before him, and as the two arrived at Polis Marset, to merely treat Megara's fever that she had caught as the Empire tortured her back on the space station. And just as they were finally about to rest up, they were soon on the run from a squadron of stormtroopers inside the medical facility. However, they managed to get out of there alive by stealing a TIE fighter and once again going into hyperspace. As they then wondered what to do next in the void of space in these dark times, the two would eventually be saved by a rebellion fleet. Under the command of Admiral Agbar, Shura and Megara rose in the ranks of the rebellion despite the current size of their forces. They had arrived at their base on Yavin 4 a few weeks later, only to witness the destruction of the Death Star itself. The flame of hope still ignites within the Jedi and the Rebel Alliance. Unfortunately, there was really no time to rest. In order to avenge their fallen battle station, Starrick's men demolished the base on the planet's surface. Luckily enough, everyone was able to get out of there in time with their starships and their U-Wings. The time for action was most definitely nigh, and Captain Hera Syndulla sends Megara and Shura on yet another assignment alongside her Lasat friend Zeb and Agent Kallus. Their primary objective was to find out the Emperor's next move and see if any Death Star plan backups were still remaining. The strike team had set their course to the planet Sullus, home to many Imperial factories and outposts. Shura believed that this would be the perfect place to start. After a good search through the outpost in the Imperial archives with a squadron of Bothans, Megara finds the plans for a second Death Star that was being built as they spoke. After giving the plans to the Bothans in order to take back to Mon Mothma, the two Jedi stayed behind as an army of Death Troopers came to arrest them all. The plan eventually failed as Starrick and her Inquisitor secretary arrived and arrested the two Jedi. Oh, and of course they captured Agent Kallus and Zeb too. Sorry about that. I completely blanked out from my mind for a second there. Anyway, while they were in their cell, Shura looks to be scared. When Megara asks why, he tells her that the Purge Troopers among the Death Troopers were once clones, the very same clones that had helped him and his master during the Clone Wars. It brought many old fears back into his heart, but with Megara being able to comfort her, to make him feel safe, his heart was completely calm and relaxed, even though that they were imprisoned. And although their moment was suddenly interrupted by blaster fire, thankfully enough, Sabine Wren, along with her brother Tristan, arrived to rescue the strike team. They all fought their way to the hangar and was able to find and pilot an Imperial frigate. Suddenly, though, they were stopped by Starrick's Inquisitor, who arrived with Starrick herself. All hope seemed to be lost once again, but when Marcy ordered Cloveaver to execute them all, she removed her helmet and shot her commanding officer instead. The battle continued as their new ally helped them to find a new ship, even executing Order 65 on the way out, which distracted the Inquisitor at the cost of their Purge Troopers. As they escaped the Star Destroyer, a squadron of X-Wings arrived to destroy Starrick and her forces once and for all. While hearing Chloe's reasons for her betrayal, Megara and Shura decided to go and save her captured family, while the plans were given to Sabine and the others. Meanwhile, on the second Death Star, Starrick was reconstructed and reborn with cybernetic attachments ready for revenge. The trio had arrived at Corellia, in the capital of Cornet, in the hopes of finding Chloe's family. After searching through a few cantinas, they discovered that they were being taken as slaves on the next cargo train. Megara and Shura dashed to the rescue and saved her family, while dealing with a few stormtroopers on their way out. Chloe later told her apologies to her husband Gus and told her the truth about the Empire. Was truly like, sorry about that stuttering today. Gus was able to forgive her long before she told him, and the two and their kids gave each other a nice big family hug. Megara informed Shura that they had received a transmission from General Calrissian saying that Marcy Starrick is alive and has built a new Star Destroyer with a weapon belonging to the Malevolence that was used in the Clone Wars by General Grievous and Count Dooku. If this ship makes its way to the planet Endor, not only will it cripple their fleet massively, but it will bring the end of the rebellion. They returned to Akbar's ship to think of a plan, and there they were greeted by Anakin Skywalker's son, Luke Skywalker himself, as he was on his way to see Leia and General Solo. Despite the dark and difficult times ahead, the two Jedi were reunited with Anakin's droid R2-D2 after so many years. This reunion brought about hope, which will help him in this war. But then Megara asks, Where's Anakin? Before leaving for Starrick's new destroyer, Luke tells Megara and Shura that Anakin Skywalker, his father, has become Darth Vader, but he senses good in him, and he assures them that it will all be okay as long as they trust in the Force. They had arrived on the surface of Iceberg 3 as Shura, Megara, and Chloe investigate the planet for the origin of Marcy Starrick's malevolence, to which they found and destroyed it after extracting the information. Unfortunately, the Inquisitor and his squad of Starrick's new peace troopers began to attack the group. The Inquisitor brought both Jedi to his knees and was ready to kill them, until Chloe, armed with a thermal detonator, charged towards him and the two had fallen. An explosion erupted, causing the hidden factory to collapse. The peace troopers had witnessed the explosion as they of course surrounded the morning Jedi. Dang nabbit. We're starting to die even now. So sorry. But Megara had all but enough and threw her lightsaber to the ground. She asked them if this was what the Empire was like for them, if this is what they imagined, what they would bargain for, what they would want for the galaxy, for their families. She was all but done running. Shura was shocked and terrified, but that eventually turned into happiness as the entire Legion threw their guns to the ground and took off their helmets. With a new squad by their side, Megara and Shura storm the Rising Benevolence in order to find and capture Starrick. She reveals to them that on the day of the Jedi Purge, their squad wasn't ordered by Palpatine to execute Order 66, it was her father, the first Admiral Starrick. For years her family had hated the Jedi for their actions and their ways. Them helping, to them, ultimately cost them the lives of thousands of squads in their name. She ordered the squad to execute the Jedi Scourge once and for all, for a family, but their target was Marcy Starrick herself. Her men were all inspired by Megara's words and by Chloe's sacrifice together. Not only did they destroy the ship that Starrick had pridefully shown in display, but they saved the galaxy from the return of the evil malevolence. Shortly after the Battle of Endor and Jakku, Megara and Shura once again went into hiding, but this time it will ensure the New Republic that if they need them, they will always be there to help. The two have found a peaceful place to live on Zepho. Megara was now 9 months pregnant as she and Shura shared a moment of peace, staring into the skies. Years later, as the First Order rised into power, Kylo Ren and his Knights of Ren arrived on Lothal to find a lost treasure within the city's underworld. There, they found the still-alive head of Marcy Starrick as she welcomed the famous Kylo himself. He was sent here to see if he could find Megara and Shura with her help. Marcy told them that she knew nothing, and she was right, even after Kylo used his force power to read her mind. The young Ben Solo had no use for her, and ordered her son, Grand Admiral Starrick of the First Order, to kill his mother personally. He takes an ancient book that belongs to the Sith Lord Darth Vatar away from her dead clutches and leaves for his ship, before ordering his men to burn her house down to the ground. The war was not over yet. But where will their path go next? Only time will tell.